JCPR sat down with mathematics teacher and school board candidate Arlene Perez to discuss some of the innovative ideas she has for our school district. What ideas would you propose that could help students be college or career ready?
So I think currently the district is doing a great job at being academically ready, which is my situation. I think the thing that we need to focus on is the career ready, and even in the high school, I know I mentioned before that I didn't know what a resume was, I didn't know how to interview, I didn't know how to dress for an interview, I didn't know what a cover letter was until I believe about my junior year in college, and by then a lot of my friends from affluent communities had already interned with, big firms that I wasn't eligible for because I didn't know what an internship was. And so I think something that we need to do in this district, especially at the high school level, is work with the businesses, work with, or reach out to other companies where we can send our students. There was a program that I know they did my senior year, but only a select few got invited to it. That's ridiculous. Like, we need to make sure that every student is ready. Whether they decide college is not for them, at least they're career ready. Things like professional skills, like going to conferences. I think that's the things that we definitely need to make sure that we create a partnership between, the Chamber of Commerce with Pico and Rancho, or just different companies like Google that offer, maybe the top 10 in our calculus class internships. There are a lot of programs out there, and I really want to bring that to our action.
Currently, the only school in the district that has altered the curriculum is the STEAM Academy at Burke, which utilizes the STEAM program. If elected, would you advocate for schools to adopt either STEAM or STEM programs?
I think even though I'm for STEM and I love STEM and I love what Burke's doing, that they're focusing on science and technology, I also think it's important because I think of my sister who wasn't a math person and she's a great writer and she does marketing and communications, and so I also think that's something that students need. I think that Burke is focusing on the science and technology I love that North Park is focusing on the arts. I was in band, and so I know how important arts and music and drawing and just your artistic things are really important. I would love to see more about, broadcasting or writers or, kind of the internships that I keep talking about, even at the middle school. Like, my kids are 7th graders and they can actually learn coding and learn web design and do it for companies. It's not too hard. They are capable of doing it. So I would love to see the curriculum, I think, be more real life, hands-on, more project-based, not so much focused just on math, but focused on whatever applies to their everyday lives. I think that's what's going to make the students, I see my kids become way more engaged when it makes sense to them and they're able to apply it, as opposed to them having to know it because a standard and a Common Core test says they have to.
Recently, there was a lack of transparency between the district and the community about the name change of several schools. What innovative ideas would you suggest that would keep the community informed of these changes?
So I think obviously continuing the forums, continuing the meetings, but I also think that people have things to do. Time is precious, especially in our community. They have, to do homework with their kids, or they have a second job, and they have a lot of priorities. I think it'd be really cool, this is me, tech nerd, for the high school students, or even the middle school students. I'm going to push for middle school because I'm a middle school teacher, but to push them to develop an app for the city. To develop an app where maybe that's where you get your news for the city, and you don't have to go to Facebook or ABC, but kind of like a Twitter type of account where you get updates. Maybe they get a questionnaire of the week about what they think about our current school district, or what they think about the town center, or what they think about just the city itself and what improvements. I know there's a group on Facebook that's talking about, you grew up in Pico Rivera, and there's such conversations that I feel like they should take place somewhere else, just outside of Facebook, that I think some concerns are raised that should be raised, actually. So I would love to see specifically high school or middle school students develop an app for the city, so we can get updates on things that are going wrong, things that we want to get involved with, and just emphasize the good things of our city.
Active parental involvement in student education can at times be difficult to achieve. How would you approach this problem?
I don't think it's difficult to achieve. Yesterday I actually stopped by a student's house because he lives here in Pico Rivera. 2 students' houses actually, and it took 10 minutes for me to just talk about my student and get to know their family, and it develops a relationship that's so important, I think, both academically and behaviorally. Now I can keep an eye on him in class. So I think if the parents aren't coming to the parent conferences because, it's not because they don't care, it's because maybe they have another job or they don't have time. And we as educators, or we as principals, or we as the admin have to go to them in something that makes them more comfortable. Whether that means, there's a program that my school does that I also did in DC. They're called home visits. So your teacher actually has to go to your house and talk about everything but academics. So they're not going to talk about your grades. They're going to talk about, what do you like? Who are you? Developing that relationship a step further. That I know when I was in middle school, my teachers did not know my parents. Maybe even high school, maybe at parent conferences, but they didn't have a relationship like they do now. And I've seen such drastic changes because of that, because they're able, now the students, because they have such a relationship with you as a teacher, it's drastically improving their academics. And so I think it's not so much that it's hard to achieve, is that we have to go out and step out, even meeting at Starbucks or meeting at McDonald's or wherever the family is most comfortable, but working with their schedule. And I know sometimes as teachers it's hard because we have our own life and we have our own busy schedule. But if we really are putting the kids first and the kids' academics is on the line, then we need to do whatever is possible to make that happen.